Hello and welcome to this section of Mastering Excel. Here I'm going to show you a nifty little feature that you can find related to sheets like this, where we have typically people's names, we have different departments, and we have usually sales figures or salary figures or some kind of number typically, and that is the concept of a subtotal. So here, for instance, we may have the East Department, the North Department, South, and West. It might be nice to add up what is the total salary compensation of all of the people in the East Department? How much money does all the people in the North Department make? Or maybe the yearly sales totals for these departments. Now we can easily do that. I could, insert a row. I could type subtotal here and I could write a little formula that adds everything up. I mean, that can all be done with an Excel, and that's perfectly fine. But there's actually an automated way to do this because this type of format is so common. And what you need to do is first put your cursor in the department column somewhere. It doesn't really matter where. And then go to the Data tab, and then go over here to the right, and there's actually a button called Subtotal. It says right there, quickly calculate rows of related data by inserting subtotals. And so basically we're going to do that. Now it asks us, when this dialog box pops up, it says, hey, calculate a subtotal at each change in, and there's a drop-down box here is department. We're going to calculate a subtotal each time the department changes. So here it changes from east to north, and so it'll trigger it to calculate a subtotal. And when the calculation happens, it's asking us, do we want to sum it up? Do we want to average the numbers or whatever? We typically want to do a subtotal, so we're trying to sum. And then it says add subtotal to, what do we want to add up? In this case, I definitely want to add the yearly sales number. And I definitely want to add the annual salary. I would like to know how much these people are costing me. And so you can check off other things. Some things don't make any sense, like you wouldn't want to add up social security numbers. And these checkboxes you can just leave in place. Go ahead and hit OK, and let's see what happens. The screen changes, and if you notice that underneath the East departments, we have a subtotal for $26,000, and we also have the yearly sales of $4,200. And we have the same kind of thing running down here. So this is a very nice, easy way to calculate subtotals. We also have a grand total at the bottom, which is nice for us to have as well. Now notice also on the left-hand side of the screen, when the subtotal thing is triggered, we have these buttons here. We can collapse the number 1 button, and it'll just display the grand total information. If we click the number 2 button, it expands just a little bit to show us all of the subtotals plus the grand total. And if we click the number 3 button, it shows us everything. And if we want to finally get rid of all this subtotal business, we just go back to the subtotal menu and we click Remove All. Remove All sounds bad, but really all it's doing is taking the subtotal information away. So again, a pretty specific function of Excel, but typically when you have charts like this and in tables, you're always doing subtotals. So it's an easy way to automate that process without you having to set up the formulas manually.